check. Should you play light or play rough? Do you have a good hand or is it a bluff? What are you going to get next? Cause poker is confusing and complex. The IPC is the biggest tourney around. You don't know who is gonna be crowned #1 of the IPC. Playing in this tourney is Crore India Poker Championship.
Hi, I'm Abhishek Goindi. I'm from Bangalore, first India Poker Player of the Year for IPC. And the director told me that if you don't have another introduction, just be like, Google it. So I'm just going to stick to that.
I've been into this industry for close to 18 years now. And before poker came into India, and I've seen a big evolution of this industry. Love the game and I've been passionate about it, and that's what gets me here.
I am an orthopedic surgeon.
And I was a skin specialist.
We actually both quit our practices and now we are playing poker professionally.
I got to know about poker from my brother. He's younger to me like 7 years. So he showed me a game online in 2012. It was a free game, but that's how I got to know that this is what poker is. And from there, it's never looking back.
While a lot of players rightfully, of course, think that the IPC is a tournament series, for me, it's more like a social sort of a gathering for all the players in the poker community. The fraternity has been growing over the past 10 years that the game has been active in India. And so the IPC is more like a social occasion for personally me and of course the rest of the IPC team.
Definitely the number of players who play poker today in India have really grown maybe in lakhs now. And like I can say that because of seeing my sales that happen in different parts of the country and some cities in India which I don't even know of the city here in India.
Very exciting month coming up. In September, we're coming back after almost a break of 3 years. 3 crores of guarantee over 4 tournaments. And we're hoping that we'll just keep increasing the guarantees, keep increasing the number of days moving forward. Also a big benefit to the players, the 100% TDS refund that we're going to be giving on Spartan.
Obviously, I was anyways planned to come, but I was more motivated and more excited to come and play. Because that's a big boost for our bankroll and also to sustain. That's how it should work, ideally. Yeah.
About the Big Daddy Casino, I think, I get really excited when I talk about this casino because the way it is made, it's so lavish and so beautiful and glamorous from inside. It's got this new interiors, like amazing space. It's the biggest offshore casino in Asia currently.
It's awesome that it's happening after such a long hiatus of 3 years, I think. And it's probably the most awaited tournament series in India, and I'm sure this one's gonna be coming back with a bang, and everyone, including me, are super excited about this. Can't wait for it to kind of kickstart in 10 days now, 15 days now. Yeah.
Get ready to experience all the best part of the poker.
Come for the IPC, it's a great event. Meet a lot of familiar faces. You'll get to learn a lot of poker. Just come, grind hard, be focused, enjoy the moment, and stay in it, and go back home with great memories, and hopefully a trophy, and money, and tax refunds. Yeah.
Hey there, what's your name? It doesn't even matter from where you came. Buy your ticket for your Insta fame. It's IPC, get in the game. Get in the game.
My name is Pulkit Goyal. मैं बठिंडा तो belong करदा. I am a businessman. My hobbies are just playing poker online, and mostly I play on Spartan poker. पहले दिन ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਖੇਡਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੀਡ ਮਿਲੀ, ਮੈਂ ਲੀਡਰ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਟੌਪ 8 ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨਸ 'ਚ ਆਇਆ। ਜਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਅਗਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਖੇਡਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਟੂਰਨਾਮੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਡੇ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਿਪਮੈਂਟ ਮਿਲ ਗਈ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਿਪ ਲੀਡ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਮਿਲ ਗਈ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੌਨਫੀਡੈਂਸ ਹੋਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੂਸਟ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਦੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਪਿੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਵੜਿਆ, ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਖੇਡਿਆ। ਵੀਰੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤੂੰ? ਟੂਰਨਾਮੈਂਟ ਐਂਟਰ ਕੀਤਾ? ਹਾਂ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਯਾਰ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਖੁਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਕਦੋਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਖੇਡੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਕਦੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਖੇਡੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਿੱਤਿਆ। ਕੰਪੀਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਟਫ ਸੀ, ਮਤਲਬ ਮੈਂਟਲੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੰਸਨਟਰੇਟ ਦੇਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਦੀ ਨੀਂਦ ਉੱਤੇ, क्योंकि डेली टूर्नामेंट्स 12 बजे स्टार्ट है, कदे 2 बजे स्टार्ट है, सो सवेर के 4 बजे तक चलदियां ने। मेरी मतलब दिल दी धड़कना बहुत तेज सी। जब ही एंड फाइनल मोमेंट ते मैं जित्तिया ते मैनू इन्नी खुशी हुई ते मेरे दोस्तों ने मैनू इन्ना कुट्टिया, बहुत कुट्टे दोस्त ने। ਸਪਾਰਟਨ ਪੋਕਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੈਪੀ ਹਾਂ। ਗੱਡੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਐਡੀ ਛੇਤੀ ਡਿਲੀਵਰ ਕੀਤੀ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਮੀਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਪਾਰਟਨ ਪੋਕਰ ਐਡੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਨਿਕਲੇਗੀ ਤੇ ਐਡੀ ਫਾਸਟ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗੱਡੀ ਦੀ ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ। In the digital world, you never know what happens next. Life is actually like a poker. You gotta believe your hands and a skill. Thank you so much Spartan Poker for this cheap compass.
Wins and losses don't define champions. The fear of losing is real, ever present. Like a voice in your head saying, you're not ready. This is impossible. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. The odds stacked against you. It's time to fight back. Draw out the noise, let go of the distractions. Face your fear and make your move. Raise. With every breath, you inch closer to victory or defeat. Before the moment of truth comes the moment of madness. A moment in time, a chance to be remembered or forgotten forever. All in. This is that moment of madness, the moment just before victory that turns a winner into a legend.
On behalf of all my colleagues, I welcome you on board 67206. A total distance of 270 kilometers we expect to cover in a flying time of 45 minutes. I hope you have settled down on your respective seat, and very soon we should be ready to push back and start.
Hi, I'm Srihari. I'm from Vijayawada, and this IPC millionaire, I've won $500 million. I've been playing poker from past 2 years. I would say my brother is my idol. He is not only my idol in poker, but in all the ways I've seen him as my idol. Whatever thing he's picked into, he's been the best. I would say not to give up, because even while the millionaire tournament was going on, there were 7 flights. But I qualified to day 2 on the last flight. I didn't give up on this thing, thinking that I'm not qualified throughout all the days. So on the last shot, I've won it. My parents do not want me to take it as a full-time, but definitely they are fine with me playing it on a weekly basis. And then apart from that, in tournaments, I don't think so I really lose my mindset. I've played for past 2 years and I've got used to all the bad beats which people tell, which I don't feel it's a bad beat, it's just part of the game which you need to go through. I would like to tell them to not put more volume first. Studying the game is more important than putting the volume. People think that playing daily or just giving one shot may win them money, but that's not the case. If you study more, that will help you. Hope is what keeps us alive. There's a hope that there's always be a better tomorrow. This is what keeps us going. Even in poker, even if you lose today, there's a hope that tomorrow will be better. Thank you, Spartan Poker.
Good evening and welcome to the live coverage of the India Poker Championship Main Event Day 1B. We'll be having you the feature table and all the action coming from it in just a second. I'm just going to talk you through some of the stuff that's been going on today. It's been record-breaking once again, as has been the trend in this IPC so far. Day 1 had 390 entries. Day 2, 387. That's a Dreamliner's worth of total entries. 777, lovely number. Prize pool right now, 2.6 CR. That's an entire crore over the original guarantee, which is absolutely insane. 86 players will be paid, with first place taking home a mammoth 49 lakhs. We'll be playing till level 16 today, and we'll merge with day 1's finishers to play through day 2 and the final table. But for now, the blinds are 800, 1600 with a 1600 ante. The average stack is about 60K. So let's hand over to our commentary team, Richard, and joining him will also be director and co-founder of the IPC, Peter Abraham. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Aditya. Welcome to the live stream of the main event, Day 1B. Joining me is IPC director and co-founder of the Indian Poker Championship, Peter Abraham.
Thanks, Rishi.
Yeah, so the main event has been insane. We had a 1.6 crore guarantee. We're over 2 crores. You must be very, very happy.
Yeah, I mean, to go over a crore on the original guarantee is an amazing feeling, and we're really thankful that players came out to play in this event, and it just goes to show that even though we've been off for a while, there is a special place in the hearts and minds of the players about the brand, and the prize pool reflects that, the turnout reflects that. So yeah, happy about that.
I think we have all in. Amar has moved all in with the King Jack of clubs on a King 862 clubs board. Kanchan is to call. Kanchan makes the fold.
Yeah, you just see that little breath that she let loose. She wasn't going to pursue that, even though she had a gut shot.
So we have a decent table. Starting from seat 1, we have seat 1 Anil Adhyani, seat 2 Amit Tejura, Naveen Sagar, Kanchan Sharma. Yeah, there you see the chip stacks. Nikita Luda also joining us, a very notable figure. She's done extremely well for herself. One of the most accomplished female pros in the country.
And that's Naresh Veerawali on your screen right there, next to Nikita Luda. And we have Amar Katrani on the right side of the dealer. And Vikas Shah, who rounds off our final table.
The action is on Amar Katrani. He makes the fold. So yeah, Peter, you were saying, so day 1, we had the 10K kickoff. That was a huge success. 437 entries, again crossing the prize pool breaking record, like turnout. And then day 2, the high roller, you all did double of what you guaranteed, which was insane. Being a high bind tournament, you know, I think the turnout was more than anyone expected. Did you expect this kind of a response?
We were actually hoping that we'll get to like a nice figure like 140, 150, but yeah, 200 plus as a turnout was pretty incredible. And you know, for a bind like that, which I think even if we had hit about 130, 140, we would have been pretty pleased with it. But 207 was an amazing number. So I'm really excited about the main event because we've got a record breaker there as well. And even for the final event of the series, I think we should have a pretty good turnout.
There you see the chip stacks on the table. Anil Adhyani, the chip leader, with 197. The blinds at 800, 1600 with a 1600 chip ante. I think all the players are also very happy with the way everything is organized. I had the chance to speak to a couple of players, and most of them are very happy with the way it's organized. Also, they're happy about the fact that the organizers, the directors, everyone's into you know, the whole handling of the event. You, of course, have been you know, there throughout the tournaments, and that is something that you've always been very cognizant of, and which is why, you know, even after a small hiatus, you've come back with such a warm response.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's all thanks to the players. They've been extremely kind, and You know, their love for the brand has been, you know, sustained us for the last decade that we've been in operation. So I think a big part of what you said was also to do with the fact that we started as players. You know, we were players at a point in time. We still, some of us still are. Not me. I'm, you know, happy to play the odd tournament here and there. But we know what it's like to have a good experience in a tournament. We've played in a fair number of venues in the country as well as abroad. And the idea being that it has to be some kind of, you know, experience that you're coming to a venue where, whether it's on land or whether it's on a boat like we are at the moment, it needs to be a good experience. The players need to walk away feeling that they got a bang for their buck. And I think if we just keep continuing to look at it from the players' perspective and, you know, obviously take in feedback, constructive, and otherwise. But I think we will keep getting better and better as we go along. So yeah, that's just the way we are approaching all of this.
Check. We are going to go into a break after we finish this hand.
Check.
Naveen Sagar there calling the 3-bet from Abhishek Chinia. A nice little flop for him. The bird's pretty much bricked out for Abhishek Chinia. Let's see if he goes for an aggressive action to take down the pot.
Seems unlikely that he'd try and do anything silly here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very bad board for the pocket 10 since the ace and queen have showed up. And he also did not go for a bet on the flop, so ace 10 is never. Yeah, I think they've checked. Oh, it's a bet and call. Abhishek does go for the bet. He bets 27,000, like a 1/4 bet. Naveen snap calls him, but the ace 10 takes down the pot. So we're going into break. We will catch you again very soon and join the action. There you have the chip counts, the shot stacks, Nikita Luthra and Abhishek Chinia, and of course Anil Adhyani is our chip leader with 195,000 chips. Stay tuned, we'll be watching the action and catch you once the break is over.
Vijay, man of many talents, poker now one of them.
I actually recreationally play a lot with my friends, just to have fun. But at the end of the day, the kind of rush that you get from just chilling out, and there's a lot of banter that happens, right? So that's what I really like, and I like the fact that you get a sense of achievement when you read somebody right. Even if I don't win the hand, but if I know I placed a couple of aces on that guy, and I really like it. So it's not just the winning in the end like other sports. Like you got to wait for I don't know how many hours to see a cricket game end and who won in the end. Here, every hand you get a bit of a, you know, and so that's why I started playing it. Lots of skill involved, and I'm very competitive with sports. And I guess over a period of time, you start looking for, as a sportsman, you start looking for sports that you're going to play forever. Golf being one of them. So poker will be my sport, my main sport after some time. And this is my first real, how do you say, live game.
So yeah, your first live experience, you got yourself on the feature table. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a lottery. Seriously. They pulled out a name, it was mine. Not because I'm here, because of Spartan Poker, nothing to do with that. I just got the lottery feature table, man. How about that?
Yeah, run good, feels
and,
good.
Yeah, so it was great. These guys are really serious though. The banter that I was talking about wasn't there. They're really serious. And that's why when I had a familiar face with me, then there was a bit of chat, then the table opened up a little bit. And it was great, man. A really young kid who's an engineer is doing really well. And he's like, this means a lot to me. And I really want to, like, every time the number of players were counted, he's like, okay, prize money is higher. So this is his first live tournament. It really goes to show that today, if you're good at any sport in India, you can have a career, you can live that life, you can follow your passion like yourself and be involved in the sport. Like lots of cricketers who play really well, but then after that they're in the system, right? And that's what happened with poker because of companies like the Spartan Poker, with the tournaments like the IPC. So I'm really glad to see this growth. So many guys. You've been part of the poker scene for so long. Look at the amount of people.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
grown year
massive,
on year.
massive. Wins and losses don't define champions. The fear of losing is real, ever present. Like a voice in your head saying, you're not ready. This is impossible. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. The odds stacked against you. It's time to fight back. Check. Draw out the noise. Let go of the distractions. Face your fear and make your move. Raise. With every breath, you inch closer to victory or defeat. Before the moment of truth comes the moment of madness. A moment in time, a chance to be remembered or forgotten forever. All in. This is that moment of madness, the moment just before victory that turns a winner into a legend.
Hi, I'm Abhishek Goindi. I'm from Bangalore, first India Poker Player of the Year for IPC. And the director told me that if you don't have another introduction, just be like Google it. So I'm just going to stick to that.
I've been into this industry for close to 18 years now. And before poker came into India, and I've seen a big evolution of this industry. Love the game and I've been passionate about it, and that's what gets me here.
I am an orthopedic surgeon.
And I was a skin specialist.
We actually both quit our practices and now we are playing poker professionally.
I got to know about poker from my brother. He's younger to me like 7 years. So he showed me a game online in 2012. It was a free game, but that's how I got to know that this is what poker is. And from there, it's never looking back.
While a lot of players rightfully, of course, think that the IPC is a tournament series, for me, it's more like a social sort of a gathering for all the players in the poker community. The fraternity has been growing over the past 10 years that the game has been active in India. And so the IPC is more like a social occasion for personally me and of course the rest of the IPC team.
Definitely the number of players who play poker today in India have really grown maybe in lakhs now. And like I can say that because of seeing my sales that happen in different parts of the country and some cities in India which I don't even know of the city here in India.
Very exciting month coming up. In September, we're coming back after almost a break of 3 years. 3 crores of guarantee over 4 tournaments. And we're hoping that we'll just keep increasing the guarantees, keep increasing the number of days moving forward. Also a big benefit to the players, the 100% ADS refund that we're going to be giving on Spartan.
Obviously, I was anyways planned to come, but I was more motivated and more excited to come and play, because that's a big boost for our bankroll and also to sustain. That's how it should work ideally. Yeah.
About the Big Daddy Casino, I think, well, I get really excited when I talk about this casino because the way it is made, it's so lavish and so beautiful and glamorous from inside. It's got this new interiors, like amazing space. It's the biggest offshore casino in Asia currently.
It's awesome that it's happening after such a long hiatus of 3 years, I think. And it's probably the most awaited tournament series in India, and I'm sure this one's gonna be coming back with a bang, and everyone, including me, are super excited about this. Can't wait for it to kind of kickstart in 10 days now. 10, 15 days now. Yeah.
Get ready to experience all the best part of the poker.
Come to the IPC, it's a great event, meet a lot of familiar faces. You'll get to learn a lot of poker. Just come, grind hard, be focused, enjoy the moment and stay in it and go back home with great memories and hopefully a trophy and money and tax refunds.
Hey there, what's your name? It doesn't even matter from where you came. Buy your ticket for your Insta fame. It's IPC, get in the game. Get in the game.
Welcome back to this live stream of the main event 35K buy-in 1B. We're still with Peter Abraham, IPC director and founder. Peter, we were talking about the inception, and you were telling us about how it all started, and you did start it from a perspective of the players, and which is why you see everyone so excited the moment IPC is announced, and now that it's come back with a bang, record-breaking show out, like turn up, and this has been great. So, I mean, tell us more about what went into this particular event.
Well, I guess it goes back all the way to a decade where you had players who were playing we are from Bombay, so there were players who were on one side of the city, and then there was us on the other side of the city who were just discovering the game. And it was a very nascent stage for the growth of the sport back then. We just wanted to play with more and more people as we went along, because the idea was, because we started playing tournament poker, the idea was to play with as many people as possible. So the fact that we wanted to grow that from 8 or 9 players at a home game situation to a bigger tournament scale, that's really what prompted us to take it to the next level by setting up the India Poker Championship. It's been a great ride from back in 2010 till now, almost a decade. The players have certainly gone up in numbers. Poker has exploded, I would say, in the last 10 years, and the numbers have grown exponentially. As far as this event is concerned, we knew that we would get a good turnout. It's a very pleasant surprise as to the numbers that we've got in the last 3 events, including the main event here tonight. I was hoping for a number which would have been over 600. That would have been really nice, but to get 777, that's pretty good, and we're really thrilled, with the IPC turnouts being the way they are.
We will get back to the hand action. We'll get to know more about IPC and its inception. Naresh Veerawali has flopped top 2. He continues to bet with 7K. Got a call, Ace Queen with Amit Tejura. He's looking for that 10 here.
The third diamond is also a little bit of a tricky one out there.
Neither players are very thrilled about the 4 of diamonds.
I think if Naresh fires out here, that should be the end of this pot.
It's going to be certainly a tough bet. I think Naresh would want to check mostly. I'm not sure if he would continue to bet.
Yeah, 3 diamonds out there is as much of a scare for him, but well, there you go.
There you go. He puts out a bet of 12,000. Yes, 12,000. And I think it should be the end of this hand for Amit.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to continue any further. Just, I wouldn't say it's Hollywooding, but yeah, there is a certain reluctance, and well, there you go.
Yeah, Amit Tejura and Naresh both have been playing a lot of poker. They're notable figures in the community. Naresh picks up that pot, chips up to 111,000 chips. Anil Adiani, still the chip leader, losing about a couple thousand chips, still at 181,000. And Nikita are short stack at the table. Peter, also the IPC, the first event that y'all did was also the first event that I played and my first live experience. And the turnout was
a tenth of this one.
exactly
Yeah,
a tenth of this one. But also, like I remember speaking to you all, Sameer and you, after the event, and there's a lot of passion in what you do, in how you want. Yeah, you always have been thinking about how you can make it better for the players, and I could see it even on the first time we had that conversation. And from then to now, obviously, poker has taken shape in the country, and obviously the IPC is doing extremely well, and it must give you a lot of satisfaction, considering that not only are you doing bigger events, but you also are getting such amazing feedback from all the players, all the regulars, and every day we see new faces coming up, showing up to these events. Obviously, the prize pools have become insane, to say the least. Nikita has picked up pocket kings.
Well, if she doesn't double up here, it's going to be pretty sick a situation, because you want to get paid off on something like that.
Yeah, she has a 7 BB stack. She is definitely going to go all in with this hand. She's posturing a little bit, and there you go.
Okay.
Kasha showing up with the king 6. Not a bad hand, to be honest, considering it's a button shove from a short stack.
Well, she's decided to play it coy by just making the call. It could just be a triple up here.
Wow.
Okay.
Nikita still the best with the best hand on this flop. Is Queen 5 3 odds. Actually, I didn't notice that she had limped this hand. She isn't all in. She's got 10k stack behind, 24k in the pot, and it goes check through. She does have the king of hearts, so that should give us some confidence continuing this hand. And once it gets checked around to the second time, I think she can go ahead and make a small bet.
Yeah, I think she'd need to get something in there, just because the table's response has been a bit on the weaker side.
There you go. She does make a bet. Bets 3k.
Tremendous pot control here.
Yeah, she does not want to lose value. Clearly, she wants to keep it small, get value. She knows it's very unlikely for the small and big blind to have a very strong hand, and she just wants to get called by any pair. She does get a call. Amar Katrani there again, a very notable figure in the poker community. He's been playing IPC since the inception as well. And
finally, Nikita Luther goes all in.
Nikita Luther goes all in, and I like the line that Nikita has taken. She is making it look extremely bluffy. She didn't bet the flop. Obviously, she has kings.
It's a tempting situation for Amar with his mid pair to make the call in this situation. 7k into a 37k pot.
Yeah, he's getting great odds for the smallish bet and almost a 40k pot. Amar, of course, has 56,000 chips.
He's not looking too happy. It's all right, Amar. You can afford to put in a few chips in there.
Also, very interestingly, it's the first time I've seen Amar without his hat.
Yes, the man with the hat. The man with plenty of hats, in fact. He's been gracing those across many of our events in the past few years. And wow, really reluctant.
He does call there.
Yep.
He gets the bad news, and Nikita finds a nice little pot there. 30k addition to her stack, 44k right now. She must be happy with this.
Yeah, something to fight with now. Right, there you go. That smile pretty much says it all. Fighting stack to continue her on at this final table of I beg your pardon, the feature table at this day 1B of the IPC main event. Plenty of chat around the table. So Richie, from the people that you see on the table right now, obviously Anil Adiani is the guy who's holding the biggest stack. I'd say he's going to try and, you think he's going to try and be a table captain and maybe push around people a little bit?
He's definitely capable of doing it. He does have a large stack, but since we are still in the middle stages of the tournament, I don't see him putting too much pressure. I mean, he's going to look at stack conservation at the moment. He wants to get into day 2 with a reasonable stack so that he has something to work with when he's closer to the money.
Yes, for our viewers, day 1A was 390 players, or rather I should say 390 entries that took part. The average stack, from what we understand, is a little over 150,000. So yeah, I'm guessing all of these players will want to be there and thereabouts as they go into tomorrow's day 2.
It's a very, very tight feature table. We have a lot of familiar faces. Anil Adiani, the chip leader, also is a regular. He has done extremely well for himself. So hopefully we'll get some interesting hands in there.
I think it's also something to do with people being on the feature table a little bit wary about not looking too silly and not making too many extravagant moves, shall we say.
What I'd find extremely interesting is somebody makes a huge bluff and shows it just to, get this on camera, get the whole table loosened up a little bit.
Here we go. We've got it all in.
The other shortest stack, Abhishek Chinya goes all in with 10.5. That's about 5 BBs.
No, 21.5.
Vikas Shah will not want to do much with the 10 deuce on the button. The chip leader, Anil Adiani, also makes the fold. So like I said, you don't want to double up the smaller stacks on the table. The table is, trying to be cautious of that.
Yeah, I think even though we have a few big stacks at the table, like you see right there, you've got 4 players at the table who are holding 6-figure stacks. But yeah, even when they can afford to lose a few chips, they wouldn't want to power up the shorter stacks. Hey, it's poker.
Anything can happen. I remember the first event of the IPC, I think March 2010. I'm trying to recollect this gentleman who had 1 chip and he ended up winning the second event, which is I think the 10K event. And I remember looking at him and he had this 5K chip and the big blind was 10K, and he just put the chip in the middle there, saying, all you need is a chip in a chair, which is a very famous saying, and he actually doubled up and went on to win the tournament. So yeah, anything can happen in poker.
Which was great. I mean, for us at that point in time, we were like, well, this looks exactly like how you see it on television. And according to all those stories that you hear from back in the day, and it was nice to see that at our very first event. So yeah, anything can happen. Suited Jack 10 for Nikita Luther. It's not a bad hand. I'd pretty much play this hand at this point in time, but she does have her stack to consider. I'm not a very good player, so I would probably be interested in taking a shot at least seeing the flop.
Yeah, she has a 17 BB stack. She can afford to raise and get into this hand. She does raise. She makes a min raise to 4K. And Vikas Shah is extremely happy man right now.
Well, Nikita, sorry. A little bit of a bad timing.
Fortunately for Nikita, she is in a position where she can raise fold. She will still have 15 BBs left to negotiate this tournament. We see folds around back to Nikita with 8,000 to call. It's going to be very tough for her to call. She's not liking. She would love to see a flop with Jack 10 and that really flops well.
And the players are messing around and guessing she's going to let that go.
Yeah, she makes a joke and just lets go of the Jack 10. She does not like the 12k 3-bet. There we see it. Nikita Luther now becomes the shortest stack with 14 BB. Abhishek Chinya and Kanchan Sharma bringing up the rear in this feature table of the main event 1B. Peter, why don't you tell us more about the inception? Because I think India Poker Championship started off in March 2010, but eventually a lot of other associations and other companies came out of it. And I mean, you'll never say this because you're a modest man, but you guys have actually contributed to the level at which poker is played in the country, because you did sort of expand on the tournament model, got a lot of people interested in the game, and which is why poker is where it is today. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about that whole journey?
Well, the whole idea of starting the IPC was to just gather more and more players to have that big tournament experience. We didn't know exactly how many players really played the game out there. We had a relatively vague idea about our own city, but we didn't know how big the game was or how developed the scene was in many of the other metros. We didn't even think about the tier 2, tier 3 cities at that point in time, just focusing on getting more people aware of the fact that the IPC existed, and so the metros were our first target. From there on, the journey has just continued over the last few years. We've got into the online poker space with Spartan Poker, and along the way we decided poker media is also someplace we wanted to be, so Gutshot Magazine happened. We were a print magazine for a fair while. Then we moved our attentions towards the online website. And now just recently, about a few months ago, we decided to restart the print magazine again. And it had pretty good, it was received pretty well. In fact, one of our feature tablists, Nikita Luther, is on the cover along with her fellow bracelet winner Aditya Sushant. So good feedback that we received for that magazine, and we hope to come out with a new edition of the magazine pretty soon.
Yes, if you haven't checked it out, you should go and check out Gutshot Magazine and get a copy maybe of this amazing magazine. It's got a lot of articles, it's got a lot of information on poker. If you're interested, you can pick that up. Go to gutshotmagazine.com. We are also giving a lot of live hand reporting over there. We're doing a few interviews, and obviously the live stream is also on there in Facebook and YouTube. We have a big hand. Vikas Shah making a raise from the hijack with Ace King of Clubs. Anil Adhyani looks down at Ace King as well. It's an offsuit Ace King, but a very strong hand on the button. Makes a 3-bet, a large one at that, to 15.5k. And the action is back to Vikas Shah. Both of them have reasonably large stacks. And he might want to take a flop and see this, unless he has other ideas. He wants to get frisky with this Ace King of Clubs.
It's definitely a place for him to try and exert his stack. Yep.
Yeah, he does make a 4-bet, a very strong one, a large one at that, to 37k exactly. And
I think Anil might let this go. He doesn't want to tangle with another big stack, and it's not really cost him all that much from his stack at this point in time. So Vikas could very well have a big pair with him. So I'm sure a fair amount of thought is going into whether he wants to make this call right now.
When you get it all in with such a large stack and you have Ace King, there aren't many times that you're actually going to have the opponent dominated. Obviously, there could be ace queen, ace jack, but which is very unlikely because you're playing a very, very large stack. You know, we are playing 2K big blind at the moment, and so there's a ton of big blinds in there. There's 75. The effective stacks are almost 80-ish. So it's going to be very tough for Anil to really go all in here.
This actually reminds me of a conversation we had back during the first edition of the IPC, you and me, when we were hanging after the tournament, when we both were talking about the same thing, that people find it so hard to let go of big hands, big aces like ace king, ace queen. And it seemed quite clear to people like you and me and many others who we had met at that point in time that it's sometimes not as strong a hand as you might consider it to be. So, but yeah, there's plenty of people who are like, how could you fold that? And we're like, but you know, that's a possibility. There is a definite possibility that you could be dominated, and it's not a blind shove or a call just because you have a good starting hand like ace king.
You know, there are fishes like me who can't fold ace king.
Hey man, you're talking to the whale of fishes right here. So, I mean, wow, Anil is really...
Anil Adhyani makes a reluctant fold. He obviously is... he's been there, done that. He knows how to negotiate a tournament.
Yeah, I like the little nod that he gave out there, Vikash. I was like, yeah, I had it. No, Vikash, you didn't have it entirely, let's just say. But yeah, that was a good pot for him to win. Yeah, see that smile? That's I got some chips to play with smile.
Yeah, it's always nice to pick up a pot. Especially when it's pre-flop, there was no risk of getting getting eliminated from the tournament, so he's happy.
Anil is really pushing for some information out there, man. Did you have this? Did you have that? Yeah. Vikash is playing it cool, man.
They're gonna have to wait for about 15 minutes to sort of see the hand on the live stream. We have a 15-minute delay on the stream.
Never fold king.
There we go.
David Sagar and Kanchan Sharma on the other side of the table.
Seems like a pretty loose table. Everyone's pretty much enjoying themselves. Well, maybe the short stacks are not enjoying themselves as much as they would like to. But yeah, a couple of double ups and back in the business of playing poker at this feature table.
We did run a contest yesterday for the 2 OK tickets. We asked our viewers to guess the next bust out on the final table of the high roller. Our team will get in touch with you for the tickets. If you want to join us for a contest today, please comment on our YouTube and Facebook channels. You can guess the next bust out from this feature table, and 10 lucky winners will get a free 2 OK ticket on Spartan Poker, the tournament which has a 5,500 rupee buy-in, and it's a 15 lakh guarantee tournament. So you could be playing this tournament for free if you decide to join our contest and guess the next bust out.
Yeah, take a shot, predict, and you could get one of those tickets. Hello, cowboys. Amar Kathrani might not be wearing a Stetson, but he certainly likes the KK that he's looking down to. Well, Anil Adhyani is he's running a bit hot here. I'm sure he's still sort of steaming a tiny bit from the previous hand.
I think this is the exact same hand he had last time. And I think with Amar's stack, Anil Adhyani will not be able to fold the ace king. He does make a 3-bet, makes it to 12.5, roughly 3x Amar's raise.
I don't think Amar's going to fool around too much. He might just get it in there right now.
I think with 36k behind, it's a very straightforward all-in for him. He's definitely loving life because he's raised from the hijack with pocket kings and he's got a 3-bet. So in his head, he might be doing backflips.
Yeah. Just a little bit of Hollywooding.
Yeah.
So we reel in the potential victim.
There we see it. Amar Katrani is all in with the Pocket Kings.
Boy, Anil Adiyani must be wondering what's going on. Back-to-back hands. He's picked up a really good starting hand, and he's not going to be too pleasantly. He's not going to be too pleased with once he sees what Amar's got. Yeah, he's made the call.
The ace king being not too favorable for Anil Adiyani. Back-to-back hands. The flop is 4-2-6. Amar is enjoying this very dry and small flop, and he gets a nice double up there.
And he now goes into the six-figure mark with that pot.
The ace king, probably one of the worst hands in Anil's head at the moment, because he's not having a great time playing those Anaconico, as they call it.
It'll be interesting if he picks up a similar ace king kind of a hand in the next few, and again faces someone's all in or raise or whatever. I wonder what he's going to do then.
Our table, the chip leader is now Vikas Shah. Anil Adiyani, of course, has lost a reasonable pot in the last hand with the ace king offsuit. Our short stacks are Abhishek Chinia and Kanchan Sharma.
This is another thing about the IPC events, or really any poker events that have happened in the last few years. You get to see so many new people. I don't know half this table. Well, I know some of them by reputation, and a few of them over the course of meeting them in the last few days of this event. But it's really nice to see that the scene is growing, and I think it can only be a good thing that you have so many new faces that take part in every edition.
Yeah, I remember there was a time where you'd come for a tournament and you'd pretty much know 90% of the field.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think this also, sort of is part of the fact that you have done, a lot of promotion. At the same time, you have also facilitated a lot of satellite tournaments on Spartan Poker, and I think you've got a great response in form of satellite entries, and I think that's a great way to sort of give a lot of up-and-coming players to be able to participate in these large tournaments, especially the high roller and in the main event. These are 35,000 and 1 lakh rupee buy-ins. So I think the satellites do justice to that fact that a lot of new players, a lot of upcoming players with not big enough bankrolls to sort of afford these tournaments get a chance to play. I think you all ran a ton of satellites with buy-ins as little as 500?
440 rupees and 660 rupees. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, from most players' perspectives, of course, online has taken off in a very big way in the last few years, but live is, I think most players who play poker, whether they choose to start from live or from online, eventually want to play live at a bigger stage. And you can see that in the last few years with plenty of players from the circuit heading to international waters, where you've got, of course, Macau is no longer as active as it used to be, but Manila, Vietnam, these Asian markets that run plenty of tournament championships have a lot of players going in from India. I mean, there was a time when you could count on the fingertips of one hand the number of players who would travel abroad to play poker, and now you've got like contingents of 20, 30, 40, 50 Indians who head to especially the Asian tournaments. And I think especially in the last 2 years, the numbers to a place like Las Vegas for the World Series has also been growing significantly, not in any small measure due to the fact that the lady on the screen, Nikita Luther, has won a bracelet, Aditya Sushant has won a bracelet, the first one, and most recently this year you've got Abhinav Iyer, who scored India's first solo bracelet at the WSOP. So these are very, very aspirational things, and it motivates, I'm sure, a whole bunch of, a whole generation of players who have just started to pick up the game. And you want to perform at the biggest stage. You want to, fly the flag of your country proudly out there. So yeah, it's really good signs for the game in the country.
The year has been amazing for Indian poker. Nikita Luther is definitely one of those people who've made India proud. A bracelet winner. Abhinav Iyer, a great showing at the WSOP, last event of the WSOP, and he cashed for almost $500,000, more than $500,000 in fact. And I think tournaments like the IPC sort of give that stage to the young players to, really get an experience of the live tournaments. And I mean, it's not even experience anymore. With the prize pools that the IPC is bringing out, it's almost life-changing money, and definitely is a stage where you want to show your poker skills, want to learn and experience, garner more experience, so that you can go ahead and play internationally and play a wide range of tournaments across the world, and also very soon play multiple IPC events.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when we first conceptualized the IPC, we wanted to obviously get a lot more players together, but we've always considered the IPC as a stepping stone for many players to sort of then do well within the country at events like ours, and then from there go on to represent the country in regional events, in Asian events, in events in Europe, the US, of course, with the World Series of Poker. And it's fantastic to see the kind of results that many of the younger crew have been making, especially in the last couple of years. Pocket Queens for Anil Aryani, who must be delighted that he doesn't have the demon of Ace King to deal with in this one. So he's going to, I'm sure, pop it up. And yeah, he's put some chips out there. Raise to 5,500.
A little under 3x. He must be excited to get some chips back now.
Boy, if no one has a hand in this, Anil Aryani is just going to wonder why the poker gods are not being kind tonight to him.
If everyone folds, Anil Aryani is probably me in his seat would be freaking out at the moment. If I don't get a caller, I'd be really, really disappointed.
I think he just wants that first call. I don't think he'll care what happens after the flop if he wins it or whatever. Nikita Luther has decided to come along for the ride with 7-8 suited connectors, unsuited connectors.
Yeah, both of them not delighted about the flop. Nikita Luther gets middle pair. She completed the big blind. Anil Aryani sees a king high flop.
Two spades on the board, a king out there. And Anil Aryani is thinking, why could I not have had ace king in this one?
It's all happening for Anil Aryani. He might want to bet this flop as well.
Boy, he's put her to the test right there.
He's shipped it all in. Putting pressure on the short stack of Nikita Luther.
She's got just 5 outs, and with that smaller stack, I don't think she wants to give anything further away. Maybe it's the advantage of seeing this action from the booth here and having all these graphics on our screen, but I feel like she's just a little frustrated about the way the hand has gone. And
yeah, with her hand, she is not delighted.
The Indian hand gesture thing is happening too. So yeah, folks, she's folding.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough call for her to make. She does make the call.
She makes the call. Wow, I did not see that coming.
She gets the bad news. Nikita not liking the pocket queens of Anil Aryani. She probably put him on a flush draw and decided to make the call. Our next elimination is Nikita Luther. If you guess the next bust out, you might be the lucky winner of a 2OK ticket. Nikita Luther.
And with that, WSOP bracelet winner Nikita Luther has stepped away from the feature table. We will have someone filling that seat up shortly. And at this point in time, Vikas Shah still leading in the chip counts. All is right in the world of Anil Adiani right now.
Anil Adiani is feeling great about himself again.
Wow, it's like Naresh Veerawali is looking straight at us. It's all right, Naresh. We're not saying anything bad about you. But maybe you can play a hand or two, man. We'll talk about you a little more if we do.
15 to 25.
We're joining the action at 2K, 4K with a 4K big blind ante. It's hand 16 of this live stream. Like I mentioned earlier, you can guess
The blinds are 1K, 2K with an ante of 2K.
Yes, sorry, I saw the pot. It was 4K. We've just had our first burst out of this feature table. Nikita Luther.
No sugar, no sugar. 2000 I don't want sugar.
Short stacks are really looking for something out there. Any two decent cards and they're going to go in, but it's not been.
Yeah, we
quite
finally see
favourable.
Naresh in action. He's got the ace deuce of spades on the button.
Naresh, you heard us. Yeah, put some chips in there, man. There we go. 4.5K popped up.
Our chip leader Vikas Shah is on the big blind with 5-6 of hearts. A nice little hand there on the big blind to see what happens. Something in there for everyone. The ace deuce of Naresh flopping top pair on the ace 4-5 rainbow board. Vikas Shah checks with his middle pair.
Naresh checks right behind.
The 7 of spades is a very interesting card. Both of the players are happy to see the card. Naresh has a flush draw now, and Vikas has an open ender with the 3 and 8 for a straight. Vikas leading this this turn with a 5K bet. Naresh quickly calls. River is a 7. Naresh has locked this hand up. He's got the aces and 7s with a 5 kicker, and Vikas with a 5. Naresh should probably look for making a small value bet here.
Yeah, tiny. Maybe about 5K. Anything to get out of this pot for him. Although even with a small bet like that, I don't think Vikas is going to oblige him. You can see the gears turning in his head. What's the right number?
95 ready to call.
Vikas might actually end up calling this because he's made a half pot bet. Vikas did bet the turn, and Naresh's bet also looks like a bluff since he didn't make any aggressive action throughout the hand. Vikas might call this down because on the turn, yes, he does call.
All right, Naresh. Good. Keep looking straight into the camera and pick up hands like that, and we'll keep talking about
Naresh
you.
having some telepathic conversations with Peter here, and that has done him well. He's picked up a nice pot, added about 21,000 to his chip stack.
And also goes into 6-figure territory.
Yeah, he's crossed the 100K mark. More than a 50 big bang stack. There we have it. Abhishek Chinya still a 10 BB short stack. Vikas Shah, a chip leader. Anil Adiani close behind. On average, the feature table has a decent average stack. Most of them having more than 30-40 big blinds. Obviously, Abhishek Chinya wants a double up quickly. He's working with a 10 BB stack.
25.
Peter, also you must be very excited about doing this event at the Big Daddy Casino. It's a beautiful venue. Everyone seems to have loved the whole experience.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate to partner up with the Big Daddy. It is definitely one of the larger casinos on the waters of the Mandavi. And the kind of space that they've set out for us, for the IPC, as you can see, the feature table obviously dominates the visuals here, but it's a nice big room where they've got plenty of tables, and we've managed to accommodate every single person who came in for each of these events. There was a slight flutter on the first day because we weren't exactly sure if we would manage to get everyone in, but I'm extremely glad to say that with that 437 unique player count, we did get everyone who came to the event seated and got them to play. So it's a great venue. It's quite luxurious. The service staff is fantastic. They take care of all of us in the team as well as the players. And we hope to continue this association as we go along.
Yeah, it's my first time on the Big Daddy Casino, and I've had a great time. I've been here for the last 3-4 days, and this has been amazing. I think it's a great casino to begin with, and even better poker room. It's a large, nice poker room. The food is great, and amazing service as well. And Abhishek Chindia finally in action. He goes all in with the King Queen, and he gets all folds and picks up 6.5k chips. Still working with a smallish chip stack. We haven't seen Naveen Sagar and Kanchan Sharma on the table. Both of them also have been playing poker for a while. Kanchan Sharma is a professional poker player as well. Our table marker is making sure he has all the chip stacks and all the information so that you watching this live stream get all the facts and figures straight. We are seeing your comments on Facebook and YouTube. We might not be able to respond because we are streaming this on multiple platforms.
28-ish, 22-ish. Computer hand for Amit Tejura.
2500 to call.
And just when I said we haven't seen Naveen Sagar in action, he's picked up a nice little hand there. Pocket 10s, UTG +1.
Raise to 5500 to call.
He announces a raise to 5.5 thousand chips. And Amar Katrani looks down at a nice little hand there on the small blind. Ace 10 of. And he decides to fold. He folds the Ace 10 off, being out of position, and also having Naveen raise this from early position.
Also, Naveen's not been really active since he's joined the table, so that also would have probably factored into Amar's decision to get out of the way.
While Anil Adhyani is making the call, we have been told that our new player on the table has joined. Ragesh is our new player. He's replacing Nikita Luther, who just busted a few hands ago. So we go to a flop of 8 Jack 5 with 2 diamonds. The turn is another 5. Anil Adhyani is
loving it. His face doesn't show it, but boy, is this guy jumping in his socks right now. Who cares about ace king anymore?
Yeah, this is probably the best way to get over a bad hand is to flop trips with the 6-5.
And it's a really innocuous card that's popped up on the turn. Naveen Sagar might not see this coming.
Yeah, Naveen Sagar makes a 7k bet. Anil comes along and we see a river, the 4 of diamonds. Anil Adhyani has made a value bet. 10.5k into a 29k pot.
Might just get paid out here.
Yeah, I think Naveen has to call here and he will get the bad news. A nice pot there, Anil Adhyani picking up 50k, adding about 24,000 to his chip stack. There we see Anil Adhyani extending his lead, 150,000, 57,000, and Ragesh and Abhishek are short stacks. This is the feature table of the 1B of the main event at the India Poker Championship. If you want to enter our contest, you can guess our next bust out on this feature table, and you could stand a chance to win a free ticket to the 2OK tournament on Spartan Poker, which is a 15 lakh guaranteed tournament. And if you've already guessed Nikita Luther being the bust out, you might be the lucky winner, and our team will get in touch with you. You might want to give us your Spartan ID as well. And if you don't have a Spartan ID, you should go to spartanpoker.com and create an ID soon. A lot of contests running at the moment, a lot of deposit codes as well available. And obviously this tournament, we are also giving a 100% TDS refund. Peter, you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, I mean, this has obviously been something that poker players have been concerned about. And we thought we'd try and extend the benefit of the TDS to the participating players that end up, cashing out. If you do end up winning over 10,000 rupees, you can actually get yourself, you can get your TDS reimbursed in the form of game bonus and lock bonus, 50% each on your TDS component. All you need to have is an account at spartanpoker.com, and we will get you the refund in that account of yours.
That is amazing. Obviously, all winnings over 10,000 are taxable, and the India Poker Championship is giving you all that TDS that you've paid to the government back in the form of bonus on your Spartan Poker ID. Yeah. It's always nice to, have some form or some way of fighting the tax, because it is a large part of your winnings, and it does cut through your win rate. A poker player obviously spends some money to travel and has a few overheads, and obviously once you win, it's a nice initiative by Spartan Poker and the India Poker Championship to give that benefit to all our winners today, and all our winners on this India Poker Championship edition. I'm really excited to also see Kanchan Sharma playing. It's my first time watching her play. Of what I hear, she is playing professionally.
Yeah, this is one of those things I was talking about. New players, new faces, and especially having more women playing poker on the big stage. If she is indeed a professional poker player, that's just great news. We do want more and more women to be a part of the community, and it's nice to see that players as young as Kanchan is take to the game and be part of tournaments like this.
So we have some action on the table. Amar has raised to 7,000 with King Queen. Anil comes along on the button with Ace Jack suited.
What else but ace? Something.
He, I don't know if he's optimistic or still steaming from that Ace King hand, but he's got a nice hand on the button. He makes the call. Amit Tejura looking down at King Queen suited from the small blind. And nice little family pot brewing here. We are going to this flop three-handed. We are having some technical issues. We are not able to see the action. If you can watch it, you should probably comment on the chat and let us know what the action is. So Peter, you were talking about the turnouts and also about female poker players. It's always nice to have, and we are seeing a lot of female poker players who've taken it professionally, and over the years there are so many amazing results that our Indian women have garnered, and we had Nikita Luthra at the table as well. She's one of the most successful women playing poker in the country, and yeah, I think we should have more and more women come into the game.
Yeah, it's always a good sign when you have a mixed gender table. Guys tend to be a little more well-behaved, I should say. So it's awesome that there are more women who are taking to the sport. It's definitely grown over the last few years, and I think when you have people who do as well as Nikita Luthra and Muskan Sethi and a whole bunch of them who are out there, it helps. It's a motivating factor for a lot of women who can actually consider this as a career. And people like Kanchan Sharma are proof of that fact, I would think.
It would be nice if the main event is won by a woman.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That would be
great. It would be certainly something that would set the bar for ladies to get into the, well, I wouldn't say set the bar, it would be more of a path that can be carved out for female players in this country. It's been a male-dominated sport for a long time, and to be honest, it will continue to be, but as long as the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger, I think it'll only serve the game well going ahead.
So the last hand, Amir Katrani, obviously you saw all the action, but we didn't. Amir Katrani wins a nice little pot.
25.
He is now the second in chips on this table with 119,000 chips.
Fold.
Abhishek Chinya choosing to fold the king jack there with the short stack in early position. Naresh picks up the ace jack. Might want to put in some chips there.
500. Fold. 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 Call.
We see a call by Amit Tejura on the button with pocket deuces. And there's a saying about deuces.
Zap.
Deuces never loses, Peter.
Is it? Never heard that one before.
We see a 10-eye flop. Very dry board. Should be interesting to see if Naresh decides to bet on this board. Amit Tejura's deuce is still ahead on this flop.
Call.
Naresh bets out 5,500 and gets a call from Amit Tejura. And they see the 8 of clubs on the turn.
Check.
I think if Naresh fires out another one, oh well, he decides to check on this one.
Check.
Yeah, Amit's call on the flop might have sent some alarm bells there for Naresh. Naresh, of course, has the ace-jack, a nice hand to show down on this flop. This board, rather. He does decide to bet on the river trying to take this pot away from Amit Tejura. It's going to be a tough call.
Wow, he's really quick about putting those chips out there.
He makes an instant call there. Amit Tejura knew.
Wow.
It was almost like he knew that he's getting bluffed on this board. He makes a nice call there with the pocket deuces.
That was a heck of a snap. He didn't even think for a second before he started portioning out his chips.
Yeah, this is probably the aspect of the live reads in the game. And Amit Tejura making a fantastic read there. Making a call with pocket deuces on a board, which is 10 high. And
something to be said for Naresh having maybe fired one more bullet on the turn, but fair enough. The way Amit decided to call that flop, I think Naresh was just not keen on pursuing it any further than that.
Naresh still has a healthy stack after losing that pot. He's got about 78,000, working with 20-ish big blinds. And with Tejura winning a brilliant pot there, getting into the action, and he's got himself a nice chip stack now.
And what else but ace something for Anil Adiani? What's happening, Anil? You're like Jedi mind tricking the deck or what?
There's always an ace for Anil Adiani. He makes a raise from the hijack. Makes it 5.5k. Kanchan Sharma yet sees another hand which is not playable. And Abhishek Chinya looking down at Jack 10 off on the big blind. He is working with a short stack. Let's see if he decides to move all in or see this flop. It's at a discount at the moment since he's on the big blind.
Just missed one hand. Call.
Less than 10 big blinds with Abhishek Chinya,
who catches a piece of that flop with mid pair.
And he moves all in. A 19k all in there by Abhishek Chinya on the King 9-10 flop with two clubs. Anil Adiani chooses to fold. He didn't have any piece of this flop, and he loses yet another pot with an ace.
I think Anil Adiani is going to come hunting for the two of us.
Ragesh
by the
and
end of it.
Abhishek Chinya are short stacks on the table. Ragesh, of course, has joined us recently. We are yet to see action from him on this feature table.
Small blind, big blind. Wait. Same thing. Fold.
As you might know, we have had 777 total entries in the main event. You can see all the tables behind our feature table.
Race.
That's the field that has chosen to enter this tournament on day 1B.
Hey Richie, guess what Anil Adiani has again?
There's always an ace, and there's always an ace for Anil Adiani. He makes it 6,000 with his ace 10 of diamonds. Not that I'm surprised that he has an ace. Kanchan Sharma finally looks at a hand which is playable. She has a short stack. Let's see what she decides to do with this Jack 10 offsuit on the button. She makes the fold.
Fold.
I think it's safe to assume that the players on the table also have seen Anil only showing aces. Oh, they don't know. Of course, we have the liberty of seeing the cards.
Cool.
But they definitely must be having some friends watching the live stream. to sort of give them an idea of how the table is playing with them.
Naresh decides to call, given that he had only a few more chips to put in from the big blind.
And Naresh and Anil both are most active players on this feature table.
Check.
I see a flop of King Jack 6. The flop goes check, check, 10 of clubs
Check.
on the turn. Completes a few draws, the flush draw and the straight draw.
Check.
Naresh checking, Anil checking behind. Both of the players have a pair
Check.
and they want to go to showdown.
Check. Showdown.
Both of them check again, and Naresh wins with the 6 pair. He catches the 4 on the river. The 6-4, he wins this hand with 2 pairs.
I think we're back to steaming mode for Anil Adyani.
The blind's at 1.5k to 2.5k, and there's a 2.5k big blind ante. So 3 short stacks on our table, having roughly 15 BB.
Small blind, big blind.
This main event feature table telecast has been about Anil Adyani and the fact that he is getting a lot of aces. Vikas Shah now shows up with the ace jack under the gun.
Thank God. Of course, I don't know what Anil Adyani has at the moment, but it could very well be.
For our next contest, you can tell us how many times Anil Adyani has seen an ace.
Fold. Fold.
Kanchan Sharma looks down at pocket 3s. She might be interested. Considering she has a short stack, she might want to push all in. And there we see it. She goes all in there with a stack of 38.5 thousand chips.
Fold.
Should be a relatively standard call by Vikas Shah with the ace jack of clubs. He is working with a 112,000 chip stack. Yeah, it folds around to Vikas Shah.
39,500.
He is asked for a count of chips. He's also going to be thinking that Kanchan has not been very active at this table. It is the first aggressive action we have seen, of course, on the live stream as well. And that should definitely give him some cause for concern. Ace Jack suited, of course, a very strong hand. He does have to call roughly 15 big blinds. And now he has to call 32.5 in a pot of 51,000. He makes the call and shows the ace jack of clubs. Almost a flip, 60-40% equities. No ace or jack on the board, no help for Vikas Shah. Oh, and it's a ace on, there's a Barry Greenstein right there, ace on the river. And Kanchan Sharma is our next elimination. She's had a good showing here.
Yeah, it was a struggle for her for the last several hands that she's been on the feature table. Just not able to get any traction, and when she did pick up her hand, well, the river gods aren't being kind.
The river gods aren't being kind. We are going to play 8-handed for a while. We're going to find our next player to come back and join us on the feature table. We're going to be picking the 9th player through a random draw that the tournament directors will decide. And if you have guessed the next bust out to be Kanchan Sharma, you might be one lucky winner who will win a 2OK ticket on Spartan Poker. Get a chance to play for a guaranteed prize pool of 15 lakhs. And our short stack on the table looks down on pocket nines. He's loving life at the moment. 15 big blinds or a little less than that is what he's working with.
Abhishek Chinia also, I mean, he's not really picked up anything of note. He did win a pot some time ago, but yep, he's headed all in.
Naresh picks up a big hand there on the button. Very likely to be calling here. Like you see, statistically, both the hands are almost 50% to win the hand. Naresh has decided to move all in himself with a 84,000 chip stack. He doesn't want any callers behind. Vikasha also picks up a relatively decent hand, a king queen. Obviously, he might not be inclined to make the call after two players being all in. Yes, he does choose to fold the king queen offsuit. And suddenly on this feature table, we have a lot of action happening. Abhishek Chinia, of course, the player at risk. We're going to a flop. Abhishek Chinia is set to double up unless... oh my god. Again, we see a river card eliminating our next player, Abhishek Chinia. He was a short stack for a while on the table, and he is our next elimination.
Well, that shake of his head when he stood up pretty much said it all.
Yeah.
Both the short stacks failing to get any traction, and when they did.
The big aces of Naresh and Vikash eliminating two players back to back. The only player who hasn't won a hand with an ace is Anil Adhyani on seat 1.
Sorry, Anil. We're just having fun with you and your aces.
Tell me something.
So now we are waiting for two more players to join the feature table.
And check. I'm going to take the pain.
Why don't you be playing the 700 at the moment?
क्या था? Small blind. Why? अभी तो मेरे को 15 मिनट पता चल जाएगा. Ace king suited था. Seriously. मेरे पास भी ace king था.
Again, a player who has not been very active on the table.
After that,
Oh, sorry. I was not putting you on aces or king jacks or queens. You first, please.
Ace king diamonds आ गया था.
No, he shot clubs. No, he shot clubs.
The table suddenly a little more chatty.
No, I trust you, bro.
Most of them have a reasonably nice chip stack.
That's why the chattiness is there. I'm guessing the short stacks are not finding it all that much.
But I don't think you would after the 3-bet. I don't think you're folding.
Anil Adhyani finally sees a hand which doesn't have an ace in it. King queen off. He raises this from under the gun, makes it to 6k.
For his bet says there is no folding. He put in 30.
Anil Adhyani is getting to see a flop with a discount.
He's never 120.
The ace 6 offsuit.
6,000, yes. Once you make it 40k.
Yeah, you're not folding.
He makes the call.
70 something he had.
No, he had 87
And we see a flop of Jack 6-3, a rainbow, a piece for Amar. He checks.
Not calling, you should not 3-bet.
And will decide to continue on this board, makes a continuation bet
At 25 bigs,
or a
deuces
C
is
bet.
not a call. Pre-flop.
Of course.
Call.
Amar making the call for 7.5k chips.
Check.
A nice turn card there, the King of Diamonds for Anil Adhyani's King Queen.
Check.
Anil decides to check this king, trying to be a little tricky there. And it will be Amar decides to check.
How are you?
Anil figuring out.
11.
King is a bit of a scare card, as was the Jack, but I don't believe the action will continue any further than this. Amar should fold.
There we see another player coming into the feature table.
Boxers, ladies and gentlemen, boxers.
Quite fashionable at that. Amar folds the hand. Amar calls. And a nice little pot there. Anil Adhyani picks up a nice pot. He's moved up to 157,000 chips. Close behind is Vikas Shah with 156,000 chips. We are seeing your comments on Facebook and YouTube. Some of you have already guessed our next bust out. Let's see who is the next bust out on this table.
25 and 25.
Oh, it's increased. But I think it's posted, so what do you do?
I don't know.
I think your call. What do you say? That's how much.
We're still waiting for one more player to join this feature table. And that's the player right there, Prabhat Mukherjee.
We've confirmed Rohan Patel is the last player to come into this feature table.
Yeah, dude, I'm not kidding.
Fold. $7,000.
If you've just joined the live stream, this is the feature table of day 1, day 1B of the India Poker Championship main event. It's a 35,000 rupee buy-in.
Fold.
And we've got about 777 entries for this 2-day, 3-day event. We're going to have a final table tomorrow.
And that will be the crowning of the main event champion.
A whopping 49 lakhs for the first place. Amit Tejura
11.
checking this 10 Jack 9 flop. Vikasha goes ahead and makes a bet of 11,000. Amit Tejura makes the fold. And the short stacks at the table, Prabhat Mukherjee, who's just joined us with 8 BB.
From the start,
Of course, Prabhat Mukherjee is a very active player on the poker circuit.
How do you make chips on that table?
He has had various results online.
Iyer, Nishant Sharma, this guy, Abhishek Goindi, Pradeep Sharma.
Wow, what a table. Prabhat also.
Yeah.
Wow, what a table.
Nice little king queen of hearts for Naveen Sagar. He's maybe appraising the final table, the feature table players to see what he wants to do with this hand.
Raise 7,500.
Naveen finally making the
Four.
raise there with a king queen of
Four.
hearts. Makes it 7,500. Naresh looks down at a playable hand, pocket sixes.
It's your view, man. It's a democracy.
He's trying to understand the stack size of Naveen Sagar. Trying to get an idea of what's at risk to play this hand.
4. 4. 4.
Naresh choosing to fold the hand. It just folds around to the button where Amar Katrani looks down again at a very, very nice hand. Ace Queen and makes the call. And there's always an ace with Mr. Adiani.
4.
This time choosing to evade the ace and makes a fold there.
That's all right, Anil. You'll get another one soon.
Amit Tejura coming in
Call.
with the Jack 10 on the big blind.
3-way.
Yeah, it's a nice suited, it's a nice connector, and for the kind of odds that he's getting.
7-7-4 flop, nothing in it for all our three players playing this hand. Amit Tejura quickly checks. Naveen Sagar a pre-flop raiser. And the action is on Naveen. Makes it slightly difficult to continue when it's a three-handed pot. He does decide to make a C-bet. Bets a reasonable bet. It's 15,000 he bets on the flop. Amir Katrani makes the fold.
4.
And Naveen Sagar picks up a nice pot there. We finally see him in action. Ragesh and Prabhat Mukherjee are the short stacks on the table. Prabhat working with a 6BB stack. Vikash, our chip leader, with 170,000 chips.
Small blind, big blind.
I would really like to see Prabhat doubling up and getting a decent stack. He's one of the better players we have in our circuit. He is going to be very dangerous the moment he picks up a playable stack.
All in.
And we see him move all in right away. And he's got a pretty looking hand. The ace king of clubs, the kind of hand you want to see when you're short stacked. And Prabhat wins this hand uncontested. Adds a few chips to his short stack. And continuing tradition, Aditya Vadvani is joining us with an ice cream.
Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
Thanks, big thanks to Peter.
Let me get mic'd up properly first.
Peter Abraham there joined us for the commentary, the IPC director. And we see your
Itu good.
I've been indulging.
Alan.
You've missed quite a bit. We've had Nikita busted out, and it's been a very active table. Ragesh moves all in. He, of course, is the new player, one of the new players who's joined us on the feature table. Queen 10 off.
Right then, as far as I can see Prabhat over there, one of the known players, pocket sevens. Looks like he's doing it. Yep, short stack as well. It's going to be a flip.
Good luck.
So, out of whatever you've seen so far, who are the ones to watch out for on this feature table today? I can see Anil Adhyani, I can see there.
Anil Adhyani, C2 is Amit Tejura, again a notable player, plays a lot online. He's also a regular at tournaments. The queen on the turn, and Ragesh clips the queen. No help for Prabhat Mukherjee. He is our next bust out on this feature table.
It's wild out there, you know, I've been walking around, getting a sense of the vibe. Oh man, the IPC is really back with a bang. And this is just not even the end of it. We've still got tomorrow and day after.
778.
Yeah, the turnout has been insane.
Like all your 75.
Here you can see some stats here on their pre-flop aggression here. Anil Adhyani, the most aggressive pre-flop, as you can see, opening the most. It's good to get a sense of all these stats, see who's doing what. They don't get to see it. If the players could, they'd be able to. It's like having a HUD, you know. Well, I've been looking. Oh, mouthful of ice cream. I've been looking forward to doing commentary with you, Richard. I was watching you yesterday. It was reminding me of like seeing the EPT streams and stuff. Looks great. Really, really enjoy your work, so I'm excited to get in the mix with my weirdness and your professional,ism.
Yeah,
Ooh, and how about this?
Let's
Pocket
go.
Queens for Amar right now. UTG plus 3.
7.
Do you call UTG plus 3 or would you just call it middle position?
I think you call it both.
Call.
Ooh, and what do you make of that call right there? No, sorry, I thought he had jammed. My mistake. Right there, no help on the flop for
Check.
Johan. Amar still with the best hand,
Check.
pocket queens. The action to him now. Checks it right back. A little conservative, I'd reckon. I probably want to get a sense of where my opponents are at, especially with those two kings out there. Should be fairly safe most of the time. Option on him once again. He's going to have a stab at it this time, and Johan is just going to get out of the way. Well, if he wasn't going to get it on the flop, I guess he wasn't going to get it on the turn either. So either way, I think he got the max that he could have.
Yuan Patel, the new player on the table. We are playing 8-handed at the moment. Ragesh and Amit Tejura, the small stacks. Vikash still the chip leader. So there we go.
Small blind, big blind.
That's the action in the room right now. This is the floor. That's only one side of it, by the way. These are all the outside tables. Everyone in the mix right now here in day 1B. Record-breaking numbers, as I'm sure you've heard. 777 entrants. That's just wild, dude. Wild, wild numbers. I mean, it was crazy enough that we had a 1.6 CR guarantee. To crush that by an entire crore. I mean, these poker players have too much money. Seriously, it's a good time to be alive in poker in India for sure. There's Jaswin Sehgal on the floor. They're always looking busy, always standing up, keeping healthy.
Yeah, the turnout is. We were actually discussing the same thing with Peter, and the turnout is insane. I mean, we have a 49 lakh rupee first place for this tournament. 777 entries. That is quite the turnout, and we've done the same for the first two tournaments, and we will have the final table of the main event tomorrow, of course.
Small blind, big
Was Peter being really modest? Because, you know, I tried to ask him, oh, you must be really happy. And he was just giving, you know, a professional answer to it. I bet inside he's just like, let's go. We've done it. This is amazing.
Yeah.
He's such a pro. I love the guy.
He is very professional, and so is most of the IPC team and the directors. They've been on the floor throughout the tournament, making sure everyone's, you know, is comfortable. Everyone's getting entries. We did accommodate all the players on day one with a turnout of 437 players. That again is 437 unique entries.
Yep.
That again is a huge milestone. And you know, the IPC was one of the first tournaments.
You played the first one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did play the first one.
What was that like?
That was amazing. For me, it was great because that was my first live experience. I'd never played live before, and
how'd you do?
I cashed in 5th place.
Happy days, right? 5th is good.
Yeah. For someone who didn't know much about poker, yeah, I luck boxed that tournament pretty hard. Got some money. Pretty much why I'm still around playing poker. I just fell in love with the game. Got a nice little cash. A lot of encouragement. Met Peter and Samir, who were very passionate about the game, and.
So you're telling me that 5th place finished money you've still managed to hang on to? Your bankroll management is clearly better than mine because I've thrown away all the winnings from my IPC. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean...
All right, a little bit of something for both of them here.
Check.
Jacks for Naresh and Ragesh with bottom pair.
Check.
No one really getting out of line. Let's see the river. One card to a straight, but neither of them have it. I think it's just going to slow it down. It might just go check here. Unless Ragesh fancies being a little cheeky, which he doesn't.
Naresh has been very active on this table. He's won a couple of pots and now he has added some more to his stack. 123,000 chips is what he has to work with. We are at 1.53k levels.
This is, of course, the big blind ante, something that we've been adopting into poker tournaments these days. It's a superbly popular thing to do. It used to be before that the whole table used to post, and it sort of kind of slowed things down. It made it a little complicated. People would forget their antes, things would go down. It's harder for the dealers to keep track of. So I'm a big fan of this big blind ante. It's being adopted pretty much everywhere nowadays.
The introduction of the big blind ante definitely fastens the game and makes it a lot easier for everyone to maintain a fast tempo. Obviously,
speaking of fast tempo, under the gun +1, Mr. Anil Aldiani with ace king suited.
While you were away, we were looking very closely to the fact that Anil Aldiani was getting a lot of aces, ace 9, ace 8, ace 7, and he hasn't won a single pot.
Oh yeah, well he's made a standard little 2.5x raise there. That's some online play going on. Just scrolled up to 2.5x and clicked raise. Let's see if he gets any action.
Ragesh in the small blind, choosing to make the call.
Not sure how comfortable I'd be with King 9 suited in the small blind right now, facing Adiani's early action there. Vikash now getting a decent price to come in with a hand like 10-7 suited, and sure enough he does. Hearts will spell trouble for him, of course.
And
ooh, what do I know about poker? What do I know about poker? I'd say it's a bad idea to come in with King 9 suited in the small blind, but yeah, there you go. Top 2 pair for Ragesh and Adiani with top pair, top kicker. Let's see. It's been checked to him, super sneaky. He's probably going to come out here about 30%, let's say, maybe a little bit more. What do you think? He's got the hearts as well.
Yeah, he'd definitely want to bet this. There's a lot of draws out there, the spades and the straight draws. He's going to want to bet this about 30%, I think. And yeah, that's exactly what he does. He bets it slightly bigger than that, but yeah, more or less a nice continuation bet.
Alan.
And if you're Ragesh at this point, just goes ahead and ships it in. Are you happy with that? He's probably going to get himself a call.
It's not standard.
It's not standard, and out of the small blind, he can be wired a lot of times. So he could have a lot of flush draws in his range when he does moves like that. I think Adiani might just call him off here.
Adiani has the top of his range at the moment. Yeah. He is not going to lay down ace king on this flop. It doesn't look very drawy. Besides the spades, there's not much that Adiani is really worried about. And I mean, unless
there is the call, in fact.
There is the call.
Not going to like what he sees, but he is still got a little bit of equity there, 19%, as you can see on the graphics next to the cards. Going to need some running hearts or an ace.
Let's call a heart.
For you're a sadist like me, huh? Like people to sweat.
Oh, that was a nice turn there for Anil, but no help.
No joy. Gives Ragesh the double up.
And
Generally speaking, though, King 9 suited in that position, would you have done that yourself?
I think it's very unlikely that you'd want yourself in a spot. You're in small blind. You don't have a very big stack.
Yeah. So when if he doesn't flop, if he doesn't hit the 9 there as well, he puts himself in a really tough spot. Out of position to a larger stack. It's not something you'd ideally want to do. I'd be more comfortable doing that with Queen Jack than I would be with.
Especially
with
because
King
he's
9,
out of position. He's out of position for the whole table. He's got King 9. He's not happy when he flops a king. He could flop a flush, but it could be second best. So it's not the most conventional play, calling there in the small blind with the King 9.
Well,
but
you gotta risk it for the biscuit,
I think
as they say.
when you flop top 2, I think it's all right.
Yeah, we maximized it post flop, so that's well played to him.
Yeah, he did play the flop aggressively. There's no chance Anil was finding a fall there. The only couple of hands he was really worried about was pocket 9s or pocket 4s, and he does lose some chips.
Fold.
Bunch of rags going into the muck as we approach
So if you watch
the later
this
stages. Oh yes, we've got some interesting stuff on the chat.
Yeah, we are running a contest where you can guess the next bust out.
6,000.
So you can go ahead and tell us who you think is going to bust out next, and we will give you a 2OK ticket on Spartan Poker. This is, of course, a 15 lakh guaranteed tournament. Meanwhile, Anil Adhyani loses another pot with the Ace King. Couldn't do much there.
Okay, scooping in the blinds there with a little, once again, the 2.5x raise. That's become like the standard since online poker has become a thing. 2.3, 2.5x, like OG days it was like
what's your standard raise size? What is your...
So like back in the day, like a good open would be like 3-4x.
4x.
Right? Now like that was like old school stuff, pre-online poker. Now like it's just...
Small blind.
It's a little stingy if you ask me, but it's fine, it's clearly working for a lot of people. But yeah, Amit with queens under the gun now. Do you think he'll also make it 2.5x? Is he going to do it again?
I think it's become the table standard and also the standard in poker. Nobody wants to invest too many chips, and stack conservation has become more of a thing.
What I don't like about it though is that you don't get an opportunity. If you're the only person, well, this is because it's me, right? You don't get an opportunity to like sort of mix it up with your pre-flop, sizing. And then when you do, it kind of becomes obvious if you fall into the pattern of. It just makes people take notice. They're like, he's been doing 2.5x the whole time. Now he's done, 3. Okay, he's got something or anything. It starts,
But you bring up actually a very, very, very valid pattern we see with the players today. There is a norm almost that people follow, which works for a lot of them. Of course, the old timers still mixing it up with their race sizes, going for a larger.
I like just whatever the lowest denomination is, put your 2.5x and then just take 1 or 2 of the other chips and throw it in. You don't have to get too mathematical about it. Conservative fold from 4s early on, probably a decent play. It was, I believe, the button or the small blind. I didn't see where those 4s were. Either way, Adhyani is going to get to see a flop with his 8-3 suited. Flops bottom pair, but queen's still miles ahead.
Chip.
Naratius 10-9 suited, hasn't really hit anything. No backdoors for him beyond a straight, which will be blocked to an extent by Amit. And Anil for that matter. They've got both ends of his out, so he's going to get out of the way as soon as he can.
12,000.
Amit does continue on this board. A nice dry board. He should be betting a lot smaller. And the action is back to Anil, who has bottom pair. Not a very exciting flop for him.
Do you think the club's playing a factor here?
It does, of course, give it a tiny bit more equity,
I don't
but
think that
I think it's not great. I think you can find a fold here, but I think I'm also fine with calling once in a while, given the opponent.
I think also the player dynamic is what's going
Correct.
to factor in a lot. Calling with a3 with the backdoor, along with
Okay, and when exactly this happens, his opponent's never going to see this coming. So this should be
terrible
very
card.
interesting. That's a terrible card, but you know, a little bit of justice. He just had it done to him.
Yes.
The poker gods
Yes.
feeling kindly for him. Let's see what his poker face is like right now. He's got massive glasses and a good beard, so it doesn't have to work too hard to hide his appearance, but let's see what he decides to do. Checks it across to Amit Hulvi. Relatively comfy here. And probably might put in a chunkier bet, given that he's been called and he'll feel his top pair is miles good. Adyani, I think, should just go ahead and just smooth call him here.
Alan.
Oh.
Call.
Oh.
All in and a snap call from Adyani. Again, what do I know?
what do we know?
So, right, Amit at risk now, needing a queen, a jack, or a 5. Otherwise, he will be out of this main event on day 1B. A king rolls off, and Adyani gets 78k added to his stack. Amit Tejura eliminated, queens.
No, it's
Like a gentleman, Adyani does apologize for
You cover.
the suck out, but inside he's
have around
like,
65, 67.
Anil Adyani is now 179 chips.
Yeah,
79,000 chips.
I have about 70.
And Amit Tejura is
65.
going to be our next
60,
elimination.
62, 500.
If you have guessed Amit Tejura to be the next elimination, you could win yourself a ticket to the 2OK tournament.
Yeah, I can see you the judge. You could be in the running for that ticket. A couple of other correct answers around there across the other channels. So, best of luck to all of you.
Button good, yes. Small blind, big blind.
Someone will be joining us shortly on the feature table, filling in the seat.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, watching on Facebook and YouTube, do also throw in your comments and questions to either Richard or I. I know you want those tickets as well, but we're here to interact and answer questions. We'd be happy to help out with anything, some comments. Let's keep it interactive, let's keep it fun. Let's make use of these amazing platforms that we have. Just imagine, before you could go and watch poker on your TV and you couldn't do anything about it. Now you can actually talk to your TV, so do it. Pocket threes now for Ragesh in the hijack. He's got a decent stack, so he's going to bring it up. Just a 2x raise there. Running into pocket sevens now from Vikash, who's got him covered by just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to get too out of hand just yet. I don't mind a raise here actually as well, just to shut off any loose buttons that might decide to come along, or a big blind that would come in for something. But he does decide to call.
I think they both are extremely deep. Calling is also a reasonably good option. Trying to realize his equity, seeing a flop with his sevens. Naveen Sagar.
I think easy defend there.
Easy defend. He has about 90 gauge chips, and he will get to see a flop with a discount. He's on the big blind.
Here it is. Oh, bingo bango.
Check.
And Vikasha, one of the largest stacks on this table, flops a nice set. Middle set with the pocket sevens, no help for the other two.
Yeah, unfortunately no help whatsoever, in fact, for the other two, so I don't think he's going to get much out of it.
Ragesh is cutting some chips. He is an aggressive online player, of what I know.
Yeah, this is something I've seen a lot of people do with when they miss the board or when they have something like a small pocket pair. They sort of want to see where they're at when it runs out relatively safe, meaning there are no broadways out there, no face cards that they would normally expect your opponents to have. So I think he just wants to see where he's at. And a bet of 9K is not a bad price to do that. With two people to act after you, I would have rather checked and let them have a look. Maybe see if I can get a free card.
24,000 fold.
Vikash obviously very excited to see this. Oh, he does make a raise.
He does make a raise,
which is very interesting.
It's very interesting. I mean, those clubs are out there, but I mean, I think you do want to sort of extract a little more, value out of your opponents. With a hand as strong as a set right now, he's going to get a snap fold there. Well, either way, as 25.
That 3-bet from Vikash. To be honest, 10-7 2's not a nice board for the pre-flop raiser. Ragesh did choose to bet though, and Vikash still made 25,000 chips from the spot, so he must be happy.
Days. But I mean, in general, he sort of declared openly what he had by doing that at that spot. Sure, if he found himself getting called there, then he's opening himself to even bluffs. At that point, if a club rolls off, someone has, you could have a devious player who does decide to just, pocket threes, forget it, I'll just play the board at this point. A club rolls off, he bangs something in, where are you going to see yourself? So, I would have rather preferred the call. I think he can, given that his opponent did lead out, he could have continued to let him bluff and a lot of options and opportunities to make a little more cash. But either way, what's done is done, and we move on to the next hand.
We see another interesting play, that is from the 6-7 of hearts by Naresh Viravali.
And hello, pocket threes are back.
And Vikash now picking up the pocket threes.
That's literally just moved across now, right?
It's literally the same hand, and it's moved one seat. In that case, Amar is going to have a pocket threes in the next hand. Of course, he has King Jack off in this hand. He decides to come along. A nice family pot brewing here. 3 callers already. Ashraf Ali and the new player on the table. Again, a notable poker player, has been playing for quite some time. Does find himself in these tournaments from time to time. Is mostly a cash game player. He makes the call. The big blind.
Is Queen Deuce a little too light there, or
It
is
is
it
too
okay?
light.
Every time I say something sensible, the flop's just like, you know what, shut up.
It's not the most standard, but I see the fact that after having 3 players in the hand, there is a lot of value to be had in case you flopped like trip deuces or 2 pairs.
Check.
He does check with the queen top pair and a bad kicker. Vikasha is hitting sets left, right, and center.
So pretty much something in there for everyone right now. Amar's actually still got himself Gutshot. Vikash, of course, has picked up the set on the turn.
11,000.
Naresh can get away from this pretty easily now with like second bottom pair.
Ashraf deciding to
now lead out.
11K bet.
Do you think Vikash can find? But I think here he doesn't mind. You can get the raise in here because you have opened up a lot of draws with that extra diamond coming there. Here I don't mind the raise, to be honest.
What do you know? Vikash might surprise you by making a call.
Cool.
He does call.
He does make the call now.
Amar letting that King Jack go.
Oh no! I think the fact that it's a spade is the only thing that might save him, and just about might. But
yeah, not the best card
for either, but like
for either.
But it's going to be interesting nonetheless. And he's just checked it across here.
What do you do? Nice check.
What if you do if you're Vikash at this point? Sizing wise,
I'd for sure want to bet this. Maybe about 15,000, maybe about 16ish.
Yeah, like that. Ashraf is definitely going to put in at least that much, but let's see if Vikash has been known to be slightly unpredictable.
70,000 raise.
Yeah, he does go for a small sizing, about 17,000.
70,000, I like it, we like it.
And it's going to be very tough for Ashraf to get away with the hand, especially when there was no aggression on the flop.
It also does screen value bet though, you know.
It does scream value bet, but there are a lot of draws that have been missed. The straight draw didn't come in, the diamond of course, considering that Vikash did make the call on the turn. Yeah, he might be tempted with the value. He does make the call. We'll see the bad news.
And on that note, guys, we're going to go into a short break. As you can see, the players getting up to stretch their legs. We'll also take a break here on the stream, and we will be back very shortly with the rest of the action from the day 1B of the IPC main event. Do stay tuned. Right now on the feature table, Vikash Shah, the chip leader, right here on your screens. We'll see you soon. Well, here we are. End of day 1 of the IPC, the return of the IPC. I think it's something like 6 in the morning. I can't tell. We're all on autopilot at this point. But what an amazing first day this has been. It started with lines that just went flying out the door, up the stairs, probably out the entrance, who knows. Long story short, 437 people showed up to play this tournament. 43 lakhs in the prize pool, 8.8 lakhs for first place. Not only that, we had Run Vijay over here as well. He managed to get himself on the feature table, which was a fantastic moment for everyone around. We were supposed to finish today, but these guys would not give up. We're gonna finish this tomorrow. They wouldn't give up. They're fighting so hard. The poker is great, the vibe is great, the nostalgia has been great, the bonding has been great. What an amazing start to this amazing tournament series. I can't wait for the rest of it. I can't wait to show all of you guys it as well. Keep watching. Well, got Manisha Lamba here at the IPC. Are you excited to be here? The IPC's back, you're back. How's it feel?
You know, it feels fantastic because I know Sam and Peter and Rajiv for like a really, really long time. So even before I used to play tournament poker, I used to come for the IPCs. And now it's even more special. It's even more special now because it's back after so many years and I've been enjoying playing tournament poker a lot. So
We know.
We
She's
know.
got the results.
So I am very, very excited to see more tournaments happening because why should we have to travel abroad for, good value tournaments? We should have loads of them right here on Indian soil.
Absolutely. All right, so what is your ultimate poker fantasy? Who's your fantasy person to play with?
Who's my fantasy person to play with? Phil Ivey, obviously, but the fantasy before that, the reality of that fantasy is I would need someone to back me up, to have that kind of cash to play Aram Se with Phil Ivey on the table. Only then it would be an interesting fantasy otherwise, So first the reality of that has to happen and then the fantasy can be realized.
I think she won't just give like a normal answer. She's thought it through like a proper poker player. I love it.
Even if it is a fantasy answer, it has to have logic behind it. Because if I'm going to play with Phil Ivey, then I have to be able to play like a boss, which means I've got to be like...
You got to boss the boss?
Yes, which means that I've got to be backed up well. If I've got to, be well. Because you got to keep India proud, right? You got to be like, I'm Indian.
Yep.
I'm playing with you. Come on now, let's sit down and do this.
Lovely, lovely. Well, I won't keep you from it because the tourney's going to start. Best of luck for the series.
Thank you. Bye, and best of luck for IPC, and I'm really glad that you're here. Okay, now bye. I'm going to run.
Manisha Lamba, everyone. Manisha, congratulations. Another big cash. Last woman standing. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm feeling great, but next time it's going to be the last player sitting in with all the chips.
I love it.
And the photo finish.
Love it.
No more last female standing and all of that. Now you got to be the last player sitting in. That's how we're going to roll.
Short, sweet, to the point, just like her.
On behalf of all my colleagues, I welcome you on board 67206. A total distance of 270 kilometers we expect to cover in a flying time of 45 minutes. I hope you have settled down on your respective seat, and very soon we should be ready to push back and start.
Hi, I'm Srihari. I'm from Vijayawada, and this IPC millionaire, I've won $500 million. I've been playing poker from past 2 years. I would say my brother is my idol. He is not only my idol in poker, but in all the ways I've seen him as my idol. Whatever thing he's picked into, he's been the best. I would say not to give up, because even while the millionaire tournament was going on, there were 7 flights. But I qualified to day 2 on the last flight. I didn't give up on this thing, thinking that I'm not qualified throughout all the days. So on the last shot, I've won it. My parents do not want me to take it as a full-time, but definitely they are fine with me playing it on a weekly basis. And then apart from that, in tournaments, I don't think so I really lose my mindset. I've played for past 2 years and I've got used to all the bad beats which people tell, which I don't feel it's a bad beat, it's just part of the game which you need to go through. I would like to tell them to not put more volume first. Studying the game is more important than putting the volume. People think that playing daily or just giving one shot may win them money, but that's not the case. If you study more, that will help you. Hope is what keeps us alive. There's a hope that there's always be a better tomorrow. This is what keeps us going. Even in poker, even if you lose today, there's a hope that tomorrow will be better. Thank you, Spartan Poker.
But we'll be seen on the. Let's make it the most boring stream ever. See, dealer.
Alright, so guys, at the main event,
You want me to put 8?
The feature table of the 1B.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
I didn't see it.
I also. No.
We are going to be streaming another level.
I will still let that.
Yep, this is the last level of the day, by the way, guys. We will break after this, and then that'll be it. Our day 2 for the main event will be set in 40 minutes. Tomorrow, of course, we'll play down to a final table and a final champion. And a prize given out by Dan Bilzerian, which is going to be crazy.
Yes, if for those of you who don't know, Dan Bilzerian is going to come tomorrow to the Big Daddy Casino here in Goa.
Richard, Fez has got a question for you. Any plans to revive the Poker Raja podcast?
Hi Fez, how are you doing? We'll most probably revive the Poker Raja podcast. For those of you who don't know, I did a podcast where I used to interview poker players. We have an all-in on the table. Johan Patel has moved all in for 96,000 chips from the big blind. And Ladhiani, of course, going to make a fold. King 9 diamonds, not too good for 88,000 chips.
But they were suited, bro.
They were suited, bro. And Ladhiani, of course, not too thrilled with the King 9 of diamonds, even though they were suited. The chip counts of the table, Ashraf Ali and Amar Katrani are the short stacks.
Anything about your athletes making
Vikas Shah still the chip leader with over 200,000 chips.
Yeah, the blinds are up as well. 2K, 4K with the 4K big blind ante.
So like I was saying, the Poker Raja podcast is a podcast where I have to interview poker players, not a very formal setting, have a sort of a chat with them, try to get a feel of their journey. I will probably do it, Fez, now that you are asking. I am planning to bring out the podcast again, put out some content on that end.
Four. Right, ace-8 off, a little raise from Ragesh here, typically aggressive from him. On the button now, King 6 of spades for the short stack with 8 bigs.
Ragesh has been very aggressive, choosing to raise the ace-8 of ace-8 offsuit, or on UTG, usually not a spot where you want to mess around too much.
Yeah, given that there was a short stack to act after you'd end up folding almost always. But nonetheless, he gets out the way, and Naresh actually gets the best of it now, flopping bottom pair. Ace on the turn is going to be a little bit of trouble, of course. Let's see how this plays out. He checks the option to Ragesh. Ragesh, will he continue?
I think Ragesh will definitely continue. He has been very aggressive.
Continue to tell the story. He is. There he is, reaching for chips.
Raise 11,000.
It's a bet of 12,000, half the pot. Over half, just over half the pot, in fact. 11,000, my mistake. Exactly half the pot.
Ragesh is an online player. He's reaching out for the half pot button there. Going to be a tough spot for Naresh to call a raise from the under the gun raiser.
Yeah, it's your range there is usually going to be stronger than not, obviously.
Won't be too surprised if he decides to make at least one call, having flopped a piece of this board.
A pair is a pair. An interesting card now. Double gutty there for Ragesh, giving him a bit more sweat. One is just a chop out, of course. That would be the king. But for Ragesh's sake, he'll think he has a double, like essentially an open ender, a double belly buster. That's what it's called,
in the end.
Yeah.
Ragesh should be betting this card. It's a nice card for the UTG raiser. He is going to fire a fairly large bet, and he gets the fold from Naresh. Very tough for him to call there with the bottom pair for 2 streets.
It's a good play, in fact.
You can take your time. One round.
Ragesh adding some more chips. He's been very active on this table, playing very aggressively, and he has been rewarded 25,000 chips for his play.
And there, as you can see, almost 50%, well not almost 70% shy obviously, but Ragesh the most aggressive, Adhiani following suit. To call.
Thank you for joining us on this stream. We are running a contest. If you guess the next bust out, you might stand a chance to win a 2OK ticket on Spartan Poker. This is a 5,500 rupee tourney, and there's a 15 lakh guaranteed prize pool to play for.
9,000. Fold. Katuria now with the raise, with King Queen off suit there to 9,000, just over 2x. Ashraf gets out the way, 10-8 off in the small blind from Naresh. Gonna find a fold and a nice easy defend here for the big blind. He's hardly made it over 2x, so he's just gonna go ahead and call. We get to see a flop. Ooh, lovely flop for Amar, of course. Top pair with the open ender. Ragesh is dead right now. His ace is dead as dead can be at this point. Which opportunities do exist?
Raise 14.
As you can see on your screen, that's 3 outs for Ragesh, one of which is obviously with Amar Katrani. He decides to let go.
Are we seeing this right?
I think there's a problem with the graphic. I think Amar is bet and Ragesh is found the fold.
I believe that would be. I believe that is exactly what happened. Otherwise, I think I'm losing my mind. This is, again, the IPC main event. This was a 1.6 crore guarantee, and it is now 2.6 crores in the prize pool, which is just staggering. Absolutely nuts.
777 entries is what we've got.
Literally every tourney that we've had in this entire series has been a record of some sort, which has just been great to see. The high roller, of course, getting together a first place of 51 lakhs, which is incredible. That went to Pranay Chawla, who played excellently, got on the final table as the chip leader, and pretty much never lost that chip lead. And here's our new player on this feature table, Sami Ayub. Here's Ashraf Ali with Queen Jack and 8 bigs. I think he might just get this in. He does indeed. He's all in for 32k. It was just, I think it was 8 big blinds or something he was at that time. Pops that in, and oh, that's really unfortunate. Pocket rockets for Johan Patel, who just sneakily calls, and it's a brilliant call actually, because on the button we've got pocket tens. This could be a spell trouble for Naresh, because he's not going to expect Johan's call there to be as strong as that unless he picks up on something, and he gets exactly what he wants. Johan gets exactly what he wants. The pocket tens from Naresh moves all in, and Johan, of course, is going to snap that off as quick as he can. And we are going to see a three-way all-in with both the worst hands at risk to the Johan Patel's pocket aces. Looking to get a massive, massive pot here. 70% favorite to win this with pocket aces. That is just a statistic. The flop can tell a different story. Let's see what it is. Oh my God! Flops a boat, and Naresh is going to scoop up a massive hand. Aces cracked. Ashraf Ali was always going to be in trouble there. He's eliminated as a short stack. Johan Patel takes a massive, massive cut to his stack. And Naresh, happiest man in the room right now. And Johan, you got to feel bad for him, man. He played that so well, actually. Set the trap pretty much perfectly there. Smooth calling, the tiny all-in from Ashraf, not getting out of control, getting exactly what he wanted in a shove there. Sometimes it's brutal. That's why it was only 70%. Just remember that, guys. Aces aren't guaranteed to win.
He played that really well. I like the smooth call. He did exactly what he was supposed to. But that's poker.
Yep.
He's left with a little over 4 big blinds. Not too much to work with. Obviously, a comeback can be made from, like the old saying goes, a chip in a chair.
Chip in a chair. I love it. I love a good underdog story as well.
I think it's the only hand he probably shoves.
The lowest I've ever been down to in a tournament is 1.6 big blinds, and I came back to finish third in that
Wow.
event, which was that day. I just felt, yeah, of course I had to run a little bit good, you know, to recover there. But the feeling of that, I mean, the guy who won it was, you know, celebrating, but me, I think I partied harder than him that night.
Fold, fold, fold.
Yuan needs to run equally good, if not better, to have a chance at this tournament.
Absolutely. And this, of course, is the last level of the day, so he's going to need some luck. He's going to need some luck.
A nice hand there for Vikash Singh on the small blind.
Two suited connectors, about to
Call.
mix it up.
And Amar Katrani also looks down at a very playable hand in the big blind.
Everybody live, and we'll take a flop. All right, lovely looking hand for Naresh there, actually, with the flush draw gutty. Gutty for Vikash Shah as well. And right now, of course, the ace high still ahead. So interesting stuff. If they could see what we could see, this would play out very differently. But in this case, it's getting checked right down to Naresh. Expect him to bet here. So much equity there, 60%.
Yeah, we could see a small raise there by Naresh. It's a great flop for him, as you can see on the screen. Although Naresh has the worst hand on, he still is a 60% favorite. A lot of the cards in the deck are going to help him make a hand.
Vikash sensibly gets out the way, and so does Amar.
And Naresh is winning some pots,
And that's actually poker straight up for you right there. That's a classic example of poker. Technically, the best hand didn't win, but when the flop came out, everything changed. And the best hand actually bet and took it down. Statistically speaking. Technically speaking, Amar was ahead. But like we said, that's poker.
You can join the live stream tomorrow. We are going to stream the final table on the day 2 of this main event. This is a 35,000 rupee buy-in tournament. We are currently streaming the 1B, day 1B feature table. Dan Bilzerian is going to be here at the Big Daddy Casino.
And low four.
Possibly with his entourage.
I know who's most excited
Goindi.
for the entourage. Goindi is excited to see the entourage.
I was like, you know, be cool, man. He like twice just couldn't help himself on yesterday's stream. Couldn't help himself. Here's our new player on the feature table, Sami Ayub with King Queen off, under the gun.
Raise. 13,000. Fold. Fold.
It's coming with.
Pops it up. Pretty solid raiser, almost 3x.
And Ragesh is seemingly not able to keep him.
Sorry, over 3x, my bad.
That's a large raise from UTG. king queen of Ragesh. We see Ragesh picking up another hand. He's most definitely going to call. We might see a raise as well.
Are those calling chips? Oh no, those looks like raising chips there.
Ragesh has been very aggressive. He is the most aggressive player from the statistic you just saw.
So Jacks is one of my, when people ask me what's the hand you hate, everyone's like, oh, shed and deuce and stuff. Jacks is the hand that I can't handle. It's quite a classic, right? They're called fish hooks for a reason. They look a lot better than they play sometimes. And I prefer to do what he just did because I don't know how to just smooth call and assess later with a hand like Jacks. They scare me too much. I prefer to play them a little bit fast, and that's what Ragesh is deciding to do.
Sami Ayub has to decide to play for all his chips. It's a very large 3-bet here.
Yeah, essentially committing all of his stack. He's not going to call this. If he's going to call it, he might as well shove it. So let's see what he decides to do.
It's going to be very tough for Sami to call here.
Yeah, it's just on the line, like as far as your perceived range goes.
And also we have to factor in the fact, that he made a really large raise from under the gun. So Ragesh is never light here. Sami does make the right fold. He lets go of the king queen offsuit.
They're staring down the camera. You gotta stare down the players, mate, not us. And of course, check out the India Poker Championship website, which you can see at the bottom of your screen, to keep updated with all the events coming up from this wonderful series that has returned to the Indian poker circuit after a little bit of a hiatus. It's a place where a lot of people made their names and reputations and bankrolls, and it's back with a bang. Now over to Naveen Sagar, who's picked up pocket sevens under the gun.
All the players, of course, want to gather as many chips as possible. This is the last level of the day. All remaining players will play the day 2 along with the players from day 1A. Yuan Patel goes all in for the last 18,000 chips that he has. He was crippled in a large hand, losing with the pocket aces, and he is going to try to double up with the ace-5 offsuit.
Quick folds getting out the way. Naveen will obviously have a look-see with the pocket sevens. That's unless anyone else has anything to say about it, which doesn't look to be. And here comes the call. And Yuan Patel at risk right now, needing an ace or some other sort of help. Let's see what the flop has for him.
It's going to be a nice spot for Johan if he wins this 46,000. That's about 11 big blinds.
Yep.
And we see a 4, a 9, and a king. He
An
needs
ace
an
and an
ace.
ace only. It's not to be.
And our next elimination is Johan Patel.
So for any of you guys who guessed Johan Patel on chat, congratulations. You're in contention for one of those tournament tickets on the Spartan Poker. And the competition still continues, of course. And there's the list of the remaining players. And of course, guys, the chat's there not just for the contest, it's also there to literally chat. Either with yourselves or with us. We're here, we're monitoring both Facebook and YouTube. Please do send in your comments, thoughts, questions, anything. Railing a friend, let us know. Would have played a hand differently, let us know.
We will start the stream tomorrow with the final table. You can tune in to watch.
After this, 3 hands.
And afterwards,
The winner of the main event being awarded 49 lakhs.
why? Why?
That's life-changing money, Aditya.
That's life-changing money, absolutely. What? I would do so many crazy things, man. I would buy the coolest computer and some fancy screens. Go on a holiday and recover all of the money from a wedding. And the bachelor party.
For those of you who don't know, Aditya Wadhwani is a gamer. He does a lot of streams. Very passionate about his gaming.
Yeah.
I think you should shout out your
I was
stream
just going to
links.
say, I don't see any of the management around. I think I might get away with this right now. Do check out Ali1 Kenobi on YouTube. Shh. Yeah, we do some stuff. We do some poker as well. Come check it out. And while I'm at it, shout out to my boys in the Ace Clan.
The Ace Clan?
They're not old enough to play poker, but they are watching and railing nonetheless.
10. Fold.
And Anil Adhyani picks up the pot.
Absolutely horrible run out for pocket fives, especially on the big blind. It's the kind of spot where you really want to hit a five, on the big blind with a pair. So well masked.
Small blind, big blind.
Naresh Virawali now the chip leader with 234,000 chips. Sami Ayub and Amar Katrani are the shortest stacks on the table.
4,000 to call for you. Fold. Fold. Fold.
Anil's been quiet for quite some time. Don't know if that's a product of being card dead or patient. I think the latter. But it looks like he wants to get involved this time with the ace-6 offsuit.
14.
I'm fine with it, given that he hasn't made any action in a while. Sammy on the button has also picked up an ace, dominating him, of course. It's quite a chunky raise again there, mind you.
Alan.
Ooh, interesting. And,
Yeah, I was just about to say that Sami Ayub would want to, go all in with the ace-8 off. It's a good spot to steal.
Yep.
At the same time, it's a time that you want to really gamble and get a better chip stack going into day 2 tomorrow. Currently, he has about 13 big blinds. Average stack tomorrow will be around 150,000.
And once again, it's marginal for Adhyani. I think he might find a fold, but I've been wrong in the past. Does seem to be counting chips there. But no, that little look at the card there the second time around usually indicates that that's going into the muck. Although he is asking for a count.
Considering that he made a big raise, he might be priced into call. Although he's not loving, having to.
It's a factor, but he's gonna find himself behind more times than not, of course, here.
Yes, I'd probably fold in his place with the ace-6, but.
He's an experienced campaigner. I think he's just thinking it through, just doing the maths once, just making sure. There is a clock, but sometimes you don't need to rush crucial decisions too much. Don't tank too much, though, guys. Of course, that's not cool. We don't like it. I'm really waiting for those shot clocks to get here. I really like shot clocks.
They can't get here soon enough.
I mean, now with online poker being what it is, people are used to playing under the pressure of a clock. And sure enough, Adhyani making a good fold there. Happy with how he played that actually all around. If you're gonna get in there with ace-6 off, a nice big raise, might as well tell a solid story. To get shoved on after that, he gets away with it. Easy decisions.
And the short stacks on the table now. Amar Katrani and Sami Ayub.
Once again, guys, if you've got any thoughts, questions, and all of that you would like to let us know on the chat, either on Facebook or YouTube. We're here ready to answer your questions.
4,000 to call for you. Fold. Fold.
And Adiani now with Ace King in the hijack. I kind of want him to make exactly the same bet as he did last time. It was 14k, right?
Yeah,
That's
14k.
If I was him right now, I'd do exactly the same bet.
15,000. 15.
Underplaying it a little bit. I think he just said 10,000 there. No, 15,000, sorry. Just 1k more.
Fold. Fold.
Also, a thing that a lot of players do nowadays is they start playing a little more aggressive when it's the end of a day. No one wants to bust out in the last level.
Yeah, a good player will always capitalize on those moments, especially when you've got a stack to do it with. It's a really good opportunity to take advantage.
Over. Over wide. Last. I think one more, no?
Shout out to our tournament director Dexter and his team, who've been doing a fantastic job here, working tirelessly day in and day out. I don't know how they have the energy that they do. Extremely impressive. They're like machines.
They're on a 15-minute delay. After we leave, they'll know. They should have played one more. Yeah.
And there's Dexter right now. There he is. He heard his name. Came to get some TV time. And that looks like it, guys. That's the end of day 1B. Handshakes around the table. Farewell to everyone who survived today. And we'll be back tomorrow for day 2 and the final day of this main event, which is great. We're going to play down to the champion, who will be awarded by Dan Bilzerian, and not only that, be winning 49 lakhs. Let's not forget that 86 people will be paid in this main event, and it's going to be wild. We can't wait to show it to you.
Congratulations to all the players who've made it to the day 2.
Yep. Other than that, don't forget anyone who's answered your the contest. We will be letting you know if you've won. That will be handled by the team. Congratulations in advance to everyone who took part, watched, and participated in the stream as well. And thanks for all your comments and chat that came through. That's been super fun. From Richard and I think that's about it. I'm gonna get some more ice cream. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I'll go for an ice cream.
Sounds great. Wonderful, guys. We will see you tomorrow bright and early with the conclusion of the India Poker Championship main event. Catch you soon.